Hello, welcome. Hi.
The early birds.
Mm-hmm. Take a
Welcome.
look. Yep. Take a look at our upcoming offerings. Oh, hey, look at that. AI
Oh
Builders
yeah,
Lab.
here we go. These are some great calls coming up in the lineup for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Uh-oh,
What's up?
that topic that Steve's teaching on,
Oh, yeah. Oh, he's
the
so
risks
great.
associated with, yeah.
So great. But
So guys,
like,
we'll be starting in just a couple minutes, at the top of the hour, and then I'll kind of explain what we've got going on and we'll dig in.
hello, thanks for joining. We'll be getting started in a few minutes. Take a look at what's coming up.
Okay. Welcome everybody. We'll be getting started in just a moment. What you see on the screen right now are just some of the upcoming calls that we have going on in the Chief AI Officer community. So if you're already a member of the community, these are kind of like some of the ones that we feel need to be featured. Cool stuff. This is the Builders Lab that we're working on right now. So looks like we got more people joining.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give everybody about a minute before I jump in and kind of explain what this is.
Sounds
So,
good.
and if you have questions, this is something you can do alongside with me, of course, if you've got, but we're not starting from the beginning. We're starting with this in process already. So, in no time flat, maybe another minute or so, I'm going to get the call started. And almost. Okay. So, hi, I'm Chris. If you don't know me, I'm the founder of ChiefAIofficer.com, and this is really a lab. It's not a class. I'm going to be learning. I'm going to go through my learning journey on this stuff, and you're going to be able to um, come along. I I'm totally fine if somebody in the audience is like, "Hey, I do that this way," or "I do something different." Because as I mentioned, this is a laboratory, and this lab was designed for me personally to be able to learn this stuff and apply it. And if I'm going to be doing it, why not, put it on Zoom and let the rest of the community jump in and kind of go along with me. The idea for doing this came from, if anybody knows who Liam Otley is, he's a young guy, but very capable AI thought leader. And I like what Liam's doing. And he's got a program now where, I don't know, $5,000 or $6,000, you can go through a cohort. And at the end of the cohort, you've set up your open claw, right? And for those of you that don't know what open claw is, talk about that briefly. Actually, if you don't know what OpenClaw is, put a two in the chat because everybody may already know what that is. Um, and one of the bonuses that he was offering, he's like, "Hey, and you can work with me on a daily basis." I thought, how is he doing that? And then he explained what it was, and I was like, "Oh, he's just building, and he's just letting people like watch him build." That's kind of the idea behind this. Um, we at Chief AI Officer, first, I got started diving into OpenClaw. I guess it was Claudebot at the time in mid-January. And like anything, if you think in AI, it doesn't matter what the tool is. Like you can get your hands on it, you can kind of go, oh, maybe I can do this. Let me try this. Hey, how can you help me? Right. So I went through that same process of kind of getting started with this. What can you do for me? Right. And pretty quickly, one of the first things that I built was a chief of staff. There's a lot of activity going on, a lot of chief AI officers working with a lot of clients, a lot of students coming through our programs and certifications, a lot of different departments of our company that are moving fast. And my preference would be to have some idea of what's going on in the company, not just be, focused on one little area. But it was impossible for me to join all the calls, read all the transcripts, all that sort of thing. So my initial effort with at the time Claudebot was to set it up so that it could access my email inbox, my calendar, my Slack, uh, Fathom, which is our recorder, so it could get access to the call transcripts, Google Drive, and ClickUp. And the idea was that on a daily basis, can I have this agent read all the transcript, like give it some context on how we like to fulfill the services for clients and our framework, which we call the MAP, the MAP process, and then give it access to each of the channels that are related to clients that the chief AI officers are in. My inbox to start because I get copied and CC'd on a bunch of stuff. My calendar to start because I get invited to all those calls, so I don't necessarily need to have access to every chief AI officer's calendar, and then ClickUp. And gave it some kind of worked with it to develop some conditions on what do you want me to do, boss? And it was essentially go through all of those and surface any red light, yellow light, green light opportunities or things like that that are happening with the clients so that I don't have to worry should I have been paying attention to something that I missed, right? And it was surfacing all these things for me daily. It was very effective. And then pretty quickly, and for all of us, I think you hear about something on however, the community or X or YouTube or whatever, and automatically you think, uh-oh, I'm behind, right? And that's how I felt in January going to an event in Fort Lauderdale hosted by a guy named Greg Eisenberg. He's got a podcast called the Startup Ideas Podcast. And it's really morphed into interviews with vibe engineers and vibe coders, people who really are on the cutting edge using these tools, right? So he hosted 30 AI founders at uh, a mansion in Fort Lauderdale. And I went there thinking that like I was going to be the dumb one, right? I'm the old guy in the room, everybody else is talking, whatever. And come to find out, out of those 30 people, only three of them were actively using, at the time it was still called Claudebot. So uh, the lesson that I learned there was this crowd, if you're on this call, we're ahead of the world, right? So don't lose sleep at night thinking that, uh-oh, I'm behind. You're not. Again, this was AI, this was founders of AI companies, smart people, funded by VC, a lot of them, that sort of thing. But it exposed me to a lot of the risks associated with it because I mean, cowboys just jump on the bull, right? We don't really think about what happens if we fall off. So that was my first exposure to, I guess, architecting a safe application of OpenClaw. Since then, in the Chief AI Officer community, we've had a series of calls held by cybersecurity experts. We've got internal Chief AI Officers working for us that are like that's their kind of their mandate right now is coming up with a safe framework because the idea would be for our company that we create one of those chiefs of staff for each of the chief AI officers so that each of them is now force multiplied because they've got an extra set of eyes that's paying attention to client emails. And hey, Chris, by the way, you got that call at noon. kind of thing, like just basically being like their administrative assistant who doesn't sleep. But before we did that, of course, since we're going to be working with client data and all those, I guess, attack vectors for malicious code or whatever, we wanted to make sure that we were doing it safely. So that has not launched yet. It's in process. It's very close. But that was the ultimate goal of this exercise that I started back in January. Now, since then, I have uh, I've seen like saw an ad for a group in San Francisco for $5 grand or $6 grand. They'll come to your house and they'll set up Claude for you or OpenClaw now, right? So, I mean, in San Francisco, I guess that makes sense. But that's kind of where this service is going. And what I immediately realized was that as an AI professional, right? You go in there, you can help companies, you can advise them with strategy and blah, blah, blah. Um, but there's going to be a lot of opportunities where if you had just a little bit of, I don't even want to call it technical, but just a little bit of ability to, we talk about thinking in AI, if you could think in builds, right? If you go, oh, you know what, I could use this. I could work with Claude Code or CoWork or OpenClaw or whatever to do this, to build a solution for the client, right? So that you don't have to loop in the dev, you don't have to, expand the timeline for an event to occur that the client's excited about. So for us internally at Chief AI Officer, the team that we've got now, the mandate was it's time for all of us to upskill so that a Chief AI Officer working for Chief AI Officer on a client's behalf can do the strategic stuff, can do the training, can do the troubleshooting and the change management and the blah, blah, blah. And they can also say, ooh, that's a great pilot project. I'll take an afternoon. Hey, client, let's sit on this thing and let me show you how I'm going to use Claude Code to solve it or whatever the tool might be. That's the direction that I see. If people are starting to catch up with, like, there's a lot of AI consultants out there. There's more than there were, say, a year ago, of course, right? But most of them, if you hear them speak, they they're a year behind us. This is an opportunity. If somebody learned this and skipped all of that, immediately they would be very valuable to a company if they could come in and every afternoon build a little workflow or an agent or an app or something like that because they knew how to use Claude Code or OpenClaw, whatever. So, what I'm doing now, his toy, she's got a bot that lives in his own computer with his own tools, exactly. So the idea behind this is that I've got projects I want to work on with some of our bots, our agents, and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to stumble through it, and I'm going to use Comet Browser Assistant, and I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to do all the stuff that I need for a non-technical business professional to be able to build a safe tool. I'm not saying that anything that I'm doing is the right way to do it. I'm not saying it's the safe way to do it. I'm not saying any of that stuff. This is experimentation. This is the laboratory, right? What happens in the lab? You you mix stuff together and see what starts bubbling. So you're more than welcome to join. If you got questions, you can ask them. But this is going to be a working session, and I don't know that I'm going to be doing like a lot of education. Some of the sessions just might be me going, huh, hmm, huh. So, but if you have any questions, I'll explain what I'm doing. Raj, go ahead.
So what I just would like to add is, uh, about a month ago, I started looking into Claude Code, and I started watching a lot of videos on Claude Code. And my thing was, I was not up to that speed because, what I could see is it's going to take me another few more months before I could be proficient in it. Okay. So what happened was, last weekend I had my workshop. I think that was the second one, and about 6 people came. I was not able to sell anything over there, but what happened was, one company is booked a call with me tomorrow to speak and to see whether they can do some GTM for them. But another person was a solo person, which I kind of underestimated the person. She said she had an app and she wants me to help her to sell the app. But the thing is, they don't have money to pay me. She doesn't have the money to pay me. But today, when I checked her profile and her work and all those things, turned out to be she is a full stack developer. and she has a lot of experience, including on working with Claude Code and Claude OpenClaw and all those things. So what I did with her, I said, here I have an experience in marketing. You have experience in programming and all those things.
Yeah,
Let's join together. I can go and get the orders. Could you do the fulfillment for me, the programming and all those things, and come up with all the
amazing.
agents that I have in my
Yeah,
mind? So that's another route you could
for
possibly
sure.
look
Thank you for
into.
that. Hey, so we'll go ahead and jump in. Everybody talks about getting the Mac Mini. That was kind of the first stage of this. Mm, Do it if you want to. I already had Mac Minis, so I was able to do that. We've got people putting them on old computers. I got an old MacBook Pro here that is going to end up hosting one. But to get started, the challenge is that I travel a lot. I have two offices, one at home and one at the office building, blah blah blah. So having a stationary computer be my source of where I'm able to work with this uh, just didn't make a whole lot of sense for me. So the option that I took was to set up a remote server with Amazon. So I've got one here, um, and you can see this hazy blue that's happening. It's because I guess, yeah, the agent is working on something. So my Amazon hosted OpenClaw is acting a little funky, but good news. I also hosted one. We have an account with DigitalOcean. Um, and I think in the past month, it's cost me $17 of whatever I've been doing with this thing. Okay. So in DigitalOcean, and a number of these, they've got one-click installs now for this OpenClaw model. So it's not a big deal. So the only reason I'm showing you this is just to explain kind of like my layout. I did this because from from this, I can now access it on my laptop. I'm talking to you from a Mac desktop computer, right? But I can be on the move. As a matter of fact, I routinely, whenever I'm on a plane, I'll be working with these agents from the plane because I'm tapping into this remote server. I'm not tethered to my desk because that's where my Mac Mini is. Now I'm sure there's port things that you can do to access the Mac Mini remotely. I don't know how to do all that. Like if I don't have to, I'm not trying to learn all this stuff so I can be smart. I'm just trying to learn this stuff so I can, get the benefit from it. So for me, this was the easiest solution. That'd be my first bit of stuff. It launches from DigitalOcean, so we're going to be in the DigitalOcean uh, OpenClaw instance. It launches a console. On the console, you know, gets it started. It says AI. The first thing it asked me to do was AI provider selector. Now, I got an issue because I've done this over and over again. I keep telling it I want Anthropic, so you can see I put 3 here. Let me see if I can zoom in on that. Yeah. Okay, so you can see, it asked me for my model. I told it 3, but I've had to do this over and over again. Now it asked for my Anthropic model access key, the API key, so I gave it that. And it'll tell you like, don't show me the key. Like, I can't believe you're displaying your API key. Apparently, it's not something you want to do. So keep that in mind. Um, but while that was happening, man, I reached out to the Comet Assistant. So I'm using the background browser you see here. It's a Chrome browser from Perplexity called Comet, but it's got this little capability right here with the assistant, right? And what I told the assistant is like, I set up an OpenClaw agent here in my digital account. Where can I find it? Didn't even know how to access it, right? It's like, oh, go here. Great. Can you just open it and notice? Can you just launch it for me? Sure. Um, Now keep this in mind, like, because this is not like, look at all these. I've been in DigitalOcean, I don't know, over the course of my life, a total of maybe 1 hour collectively over the past 15 years, right? So I don't have time to hunt around. I don't want to. I don't want to click the wrong thing. So as you find yourself in this, like to get to the goodies, to get to the point where you can actually leverage these agents, you got to go through some probably doing some things that you've never done before, seeing some things you've never seen, and just getting outside of your comfort zone. Right? Like welcome to AI. Um, but if you've got something like this assistant, I use it all the time. On the right hand side, if you're in ChatGPT's Atlas browser. It's got the same thing. You can ask ChatGPT. I prefer the Perplexity browser at this point in time. A month from now, it could be Atlas. We'll see. But I just tell it like, oh, okay, can't find it. Oh, sure, we'll launch it for you. Great. First thing I noticed was that when it launched it and it started prompting me for all this information, I'm like, man, I know we've done this before. I know you have this information. So I told it, I said, it isn't storing my selections and I'm having to re-add them each time. So I'm just kind of like as I encounter something, oh, let me figure that out. Let me fix it. Let me get rid of it, whatever, right? Um, so it's like, I don't know what you mean. I said, it doesn't store my choices for Anthropic, the API key, etc. Um, so that's kind of where I got stuck here. Not stuck. This is where I stopped. So the next step for me is going to be setting this up at some point. What you see here is like terminal, the command line. You see this and you're like, wait a minute, that doesn't look like ChatGPT. It's no big deal, especially if you can take a screenshot of this and put it in the assistant and say, now what? Oh, you should do this. And then I always say, can you do that for me? And most of the time, it says if it's a browser-based thing, it's like, sure, no problem. And the agent takes over, just like we see this hazy blue, right? The agent is still trying to connect and this session that's happening right here, it's still trying to connect my Amazon instance, right? So that's why we're over here. Now, one of the things that it does is it has this dashboard user interface that looks like this. Okay, so now this is Alex is the name of this agent. Alex is connected to my OpenClaw, that instance that is hosted on DigitalOcean. So ladies and gentlemen, that's where we are today. Now, I did some work with it. I got busy. I came back. I've got 2 or 3 of these things that are like are they live? I don't know. I think I've used them before, right? So a little sloppy on my part. But what I want to do today is now that I've got Alex, we're back in touch. I want to query Alex. Let's do it. Hey, Alex, what are the things that I've given you access to already? And what are the instructions that you have kind of gleaned from our previous conversations? Okay, so I'm using voice to text with Super Whisper is the app that I use. So just moves faster. Okay, so I'm gonna hit send. So right now, Alex is thinking. And there's some compute. I don't know. Can we see the compute happening on this side? Not yet. Okay. Okay. So, like,
Chris,
somebody got a question?
could you quickly show how you came to this dashboard or this interface?
Yeah. So my OpenClaw install is hosted in DigitalOcean, and to get to the command line or the terminal, I click over here on console, and that opened up this. And this was kind of like okay, great, let's get started. Even though I've gotten started before, that's what I was telling you earlier. Now I'm gonna debug how to make sure that it stores all my information again. So we did all that. And then it says, since version 1.26 requires manual pairing to allow access to the UI dashboard, do you want to run pairing automation now? I just hit yes. And then it says, okay, great. You'll see a pairing error, but load this URL. Okay. So I loaded that URL here, that 146.190. I'm sure somebody's going to probably figure out some way to get into this and hack it. I'm going to change the ports, you naughty hackers, so you won't be able to do it. But anyway, so that triggered this. And then the next step in that was it basically, when it loaded, it looked like this one where it said disconnected, right? It was like a dead terminal, but it's like, you will see a pairing error. but don't worry, it's expected. So as soon as I went to this URL and then it loaded and it says type continue, where's it? It says type continue once you see the pairing error on the dashboard UI. So I loaded, I saw it, I hit continue, and then it kicked this thing off. It loaded OpenClaw 2026 2.1. I would imagine that there's probably an update that I could do, which we'll find out in a moment. And that said pairing request approved. And this page refreshed to a screen where I could now actually talk to it. So I wasn't sure what agent it was. So I said, what's your name? Alex. It knows that my nickname's Doc. So I was like, okay, this one, I've worked with this one. So the things that I've given access to Alex access to already, and like, what does all this stuff mean? No idea. I don't know that I need to, right? Like, so it looks like the first experience with this one was Feb 5. Okay. We set up browserless.io so that it can go out and um, do web searches, browser-based activities. So, and it made the suggestion for me. I remember this now when we were going through our sessions. It was like, oh, I can't do that. But if you go to browserless.io and set up an account and give me the API key, then I can go. So my experience has been, like turn the button on and go, okay, let's do stuff. It's like, let's do stuff. And it's like, oh, I can't until you do this. How do I do that? Oh, you got to do this. Can you do it for me? No. Can you give me the instructions that I could give to my browser so the comment agent can do it for me? Yes. Okay. Copy, paste, that happens. That's one box checked. I got a little bit further with the agent. And the next thing was like roadblock. So there's a lot. My experience was there was a lot of little thing like you need to set up the access to Google. Oh yeah, for sure. You need to set up the access to Slack. Like there was a lot of things that I had to do um, to get to the point to where it could be helpful, right? I had to get API keys. I've never done that before. That's okay. I've got the browser assistant, and that's another kind of like trick or hack. If you're working with the assistant and you're working with Claude Code, or you're working with something, and like, okay, what steps do I need to do that? Oh, these. Copy those, paste them into the assistant, hit enter. The browser takes over like it's trying to do over here. It looks like it's like just giving up. Yeah. Okay. So it's saying that something's screwed up here. And I could just let that run in one tab and just open up another tab and go to work while it's doing those things. Let's see here. And I'm not checking the the comments. So if there's anything you want, you can just, unmute or whatever. Okay, so it looks like we set up browserless. Did we give it access to calendar and Gmail? It needs this CLI installed. Okay. Not really much happened this day. Okay, so this is good. I didn't go crazy and give this one all kinds of access yet. So we got access to browserless.io. Cloud Chrome for web scraping, screenshots, PDFs, APIs, key setup and tested file system. Now that's going to be on my storage server. It's got the file system set up. I can run commands in the sandbox. Okay, so what I want to do now is let's set up the Gmail and calendar access. Okay, great. So it looks like we need to set up the Google access. So can you give me the instructions on how to do that? I need to ask it to give me a debrief of all the things that we've talked about because it's referencing some stuff that makes me think that this particular agent, okay, so to hook it up. In a sandbox without a browser, we'll use the remote auth flow. You can do this from your local machine or phone. I'll run this command, and it'll give you a URL. So watch this. Honestly, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to open up a new tab. I'm going to go to Assistant. I'm going to go in here. Now, what's it going to say? I have no idea. Probably going to tell me that I need to run that. It's going to probably tell me that I need to run this through a terminal. Okay. I can't complete that for you or receive Google sharing that URL. Pfft. Do this instead. Run the command locally. Okay, but here's the thing. Okay, so I'm actually, where I need this installed, I'm running it from a DigitalOcean account. Do I need to run this on DigitalOcean or on my actual computer that I'm sitting in front of?
Chris, is there any way that you can make the font a little bit larger on your screen so that people can follow the directions a little bit more easily?
I don't know. Doesn't look like it. I mean, that's not really the part that we're talking about. Let me see if there's settings. Maybe for next time I'll dig into, well, let me ask it. Duh. Terminal text, usually yes. Browser zoom, I tried that. Terminal. Oh no, it's talking about terminal. Okay. Run on the machine where you want authenticated session to live. Usually your DigitalOcean. Okay. So in DigitalOcean, I am going to go back to the terminal browser here. I'm going to paste that code. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. And this doesn't operate like standard text. Like you can't just highlight something or Control Z and it goes away if you put the wrong command in there. And the terminal, you got to do old school tap, tap, tap. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is it gave me a command. It said to run this command. Oh, this I can make bigger. There we go. Okay, so it's saying it's going to run that command, and I'm about to run that command. So all I did was copy, paste. Let me make sure. Yeah. Okay. So now, oops, I got an error. Guess what I'm going to do? Copy. I'm going to open up this thing. I'm actually going to kick in the session. There we go. So I'm telling you, I tried to run the command in my DigitalOcean terminal and got this error. So guys, a little bit like watching paint dry. I get it. It's a lot of, oh, I'm excited. Let's go. Put it into first gear and stalls out. Okay, well, dang. Let me get out. Let me go pop the hood. Let me figure out what's going on. Get back in. Get a little bit further. So it's kind of what my experience has been with this stuff. Okay. So this is telling me, so you see what I did, right? It said, hey, run this. I ran that. Console disconnected. I ran it and then it gave me the error. And if it does this, God damn it, see, look, did it again. Okay. And what it did was it disconnected. See, look, it says disconnected here, right? Damn it. Yes. So this is like what I would do if I was trying to, not try to show you guys around in the next 30 minutes. Or you know what? Screw it. We're going to go. We're just going to do it. We're going to do the same things that you're going to have to do. Okay. It says health. Okay. So I guess we're connected again. And here's what I can tell you. If you've ever tried to like set up a crypto wallet or, you find something, they only accept Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever, right? You go try to set that up. You can watch a video all day long. Doesn't work. Like there's going to be errors. Same thing with this. You can go watch a video of somebody and you can do every step they do and it's going to screw up. Okay. So it continued, no pending request found. Okay. So we should be good to go. I don't see the disconnect anymore. Okay, great. Okay. So now the issue was that it didn't have this command that it needs. Okay, what to do? On the DigitalOcean server, run these checks. Okay. You know what? Watch this. Can you do it for me? Here we go. It usually works. Okay, this is OpenClaw. Let's go to DigitalOcean. So Google should be available here, not the DigitalOcean. Okay. Okay, run that command. If I would have read it, it says I'll run that command. Look. Need your email. Okay. So lesson learned, read better. Need your email address. Sorry, Alex, I thought you were dumber than this. Turns out you're smarter than me. Okay. Now it's saying one step before that. Set up Google Cloud OAuth. Watch this. I'm just going to have this do it. Okay. It says you want blah, 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 blah. You want to get started? Yes. And it's about to go to work. Now, could I do this faster? Yes. Could I do three things simultaneously? No. So the net result is better. Okay, so I'm going to actually take over again. I'm going to give it that. And then I'm going to tell it continue. So sometimes I'll need to step in and take over. Sometimes, most of the time, it doesn't need me for that. Okay, I can see you already have a project called AI Audit. Not want to use a new project. Yep. I think. Create a new project. And please read the initial instructions. Because I think it probably told it to do that. Okay, so it says it's a bit of a hoop to jump through, but once it's done forever. Okay, so I can see that it's doing the thing over here. API credentials, setting up its own. So I was speaking at an event in Salt Lake City last week for private equity and mergers and acquisitions and exit, people that help companies exit and family offices, blah, blah, blah. And on the panel, there were three AI people. It was me, two other guys from Salt Lake City. And the last question that they asked was, what are you bullish on, right? And one guy, he was like, if you're not using dictate, right, the voice to text like we're doing with Super Whisper, then you're missing out. Mine was using the Comet browser or using an agentic browser to help you with all this kind of stuff. And both of the other AI guys were like, oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a good one, right? So if all you get today is just seeing like all the ways that I'm using this, like I've maxed out what's possible with this. Like, like, hey man, like agent can't do any more for you today. So I've been a power user of this. There's probably a lot more that I can do with it, but for what I need, I use it. Almost all of these browsers had something to do with these tabs, had me at some point, I probably opened up the comment browser to help. Okay. So it's saying to do that. Okay. I'm just going to let it know just to kind of kill some time. Let me do this. I use the assistant agent for the Perplexity comment browser a lot. So all I did was take your instructions here and paste them into the assistant for my browser, and it's taken over. So moving forward, anytime you need me to do something like this, keep in mind that I'm most likely, if it's multi-steps and it's something I've never done before, most likely I'm going to give it to the agent browser and let it do it for me. So can you please make sure your instructions are geared for the browser agent to help me? Okay. All right. It chugs along. It gets it done. And here's what I know is that if I'm following the instructions, we've already seen it. Oh, I should have just read better, and I wouldn't have, taken that little jag into trying to figure out where do I install, where do I run that line? If I would have read better, it would have said, oh, like, I'll run this for you, right? So if they're giving me all these instructions and I'm trying to be the quick start entrepreneur, I'm going to make some mistakes. This thing won't, right? Like I would have missed or had to go back and forth, maybe. Okay. So now it's saying, here's the Google Auth instructions written for your browser agent. Okay. I am already in process with your original instructions, but this is more for you to know moving forward. Okay, let's see. So now it's gone through two of those tasks, another one. And if anybody's ever set up OAuth credentials in Google Cloud before, right? Some of you have, I'm sure. Most of you probably like, what the hell is that? Same as me, right? Just copy paste. So I think if anything, what this is really, showing me for sure, reinforcing for sure, is that you do not need to be a technical. If you can think in AI, then translating that into thinking in builds isn't that hard. The best thing for you to do would not necessarily be, oh, what does this button mean? What does that button mean? I don't know. Hey, what does that button mean? Right? Like I've got my answers at my fingertips. The best thing for you when it's going to come to having this be part of the solution spectrum that you can offer or you can provide to your own business is going to be thinking about, okay, what do I want? Well, like I explained on that chief of staff thing, that's what I wanted. So if I'm clear on what I want, the rest of it's just, well, how do I do that? Oh, you need to get an OAuth, blah, blah, blah. How do I do that? Step by step. Copy, paste, boom. What's the next thing, right? And that's what my, let's see here. Do this. I agree. Create. Let's see. Okay. Tell it to continue. I'm not even going to tell it to continue. I'm going to tell it continue. Right. Let's see here. Oh, you know what? I'll do that, Paul. That's a good suggestion here. Let me quit trying to be crafty with this and just do that. Whole screen, boom. Okay. Now it's moving on to adding a test user. So this has been my experience with setting up these agents. There's a lot of wrestling with it that you have to do before you can hit the open road and have your agent start to do stuff. Now, we do have agents. We do have I guess they were built in Claudebot. We do have Claudebot agents that are providing that insight for me from that chief of staff perspective. And I'm getting pinged every day in Slack with an executive summary. On Fridays, I'm getting like a weekly digest. So we've got these working. But since it's working, I don't want to mess with that one right now. Like, let's just let that go. But I've got some other applications. What's best practice? What's best hygiene? I don't know. I don't know if I run it all through one agent. Is that better? I don't know if I need to have different agents that are, I mean, to me, it seems like having an agent that was the finance agent is probably a good idea. Just I can make sure that that's its domain and it focuses on that. Having one that was maybe marketing, great. So TBD, and that's what we're going to be doing in this series. So
Hey,
I will be building. Yeah, go ahead.
Is now a good time for a quick question?
Please.
Okay, just to back up a step, the side window you have going on here is
Yeah.
that chatting because of the Comet browser? Is that what you're chatting
Yes.
with there? Okay. And did you prep that in any way in terms of giving it any context to what you're doing overall?
I haven't, but I have noticed that because I've used it so much, somewhere in its settings, it's got memory.
Okay.
And it's like I use it a lot of times to reply to comments in LinkedIn.
Yep.
And the writing style that it's doing is my writings. It's doing a fantastic match. And I didn't teach it that. I guess maybe from some critiques or something that I gave it very light critiques at the beginning. It's seen how my writing style is. I'm really impressed with the intelligence of Perplexity in general.
Okay. The reason I ask, I've been doing a similar exercise with another coding tool, and I've had pretty good luck with just basically setting up a chat session in Claude or OpenAI, just basically giving it the context of what I'm going through with the other application, which in this case it was just Lovable for the first time.
Yeah.
So that it had all of the context, and I was able to just really just talk with the chatbot and then communicate back and forth between in this case the Lovable app, and take the errors and cut it. There's a lot of cutting and pasting back, but I felt like it had pretty good context. So I wasn't sure if that was what you were doing here, or yeah, in any case.
Well, so no, and that's a good. If I had the time, I mean, I'm going to make the time because it's that valuable. I'm really, like, I have a very high opinion of putting the effort into creating context documents that you can introduce into your generative environment, whether that's skills. And now I think ChatGPT's got their own version of skills. Of course, Claude has them. I think Perplexity's now got skills as well. Or it's just like specific documents that you put into the projects and the large language models when you're working with certain stuff.
Yep.
Like to me, that's best practice. Like having good context. So
yeah, that makes sense, and I'll probably show my ignorance here, but I mean, I was thinking of it in terms of what I understand the idea of pair programming to be. And in this case, I have a Claude project set up with all of the project context.
yeah,
That then I was able to create my initial prompts even there, take them over to Lovable, drop them in, and then back and forth. And it worked for me. So
yeah.
I could be out in left field. I feel like that half the time anyway. So,
Well, if it's working, it's working. So good.
good enough.
Okay, great.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah,
Sorry.
sure.
Real quick question. Are you burning through API spend? Or are you going through, is DigitalOcean cost you, it didn't cost very much, but are you using like Claude API or
So I don't know, but here's what I can tell you is that when it had me log back in, it prompted me for the model that I wanted to use and the key. So I would imagine that whatever it's doing right now is costing me by way of Anthropic's API key situation right here. Now I'm okay. Like I'm not going to worry too much about how thrifty I can be with like setting up the models yet. Once I get this sucker working, even if it costs me $500 in tokens this month, when I get it working, then I'm going to say, or I might reach out to somebody, or I'm going to work with the models and say, okay, great, here's my bill, here's my usage, here's my blah 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 blah. How do I make it cheaper? Right? And I go, oh man, you should have Chemi 2.5 running instead of 4.6 Opus. But for now, it was an easy integration. And for anybody doing this stuff, look, you're gonna have enough of these kind of like jags that you got to do that you got to wrestle with anyway. If there's a way for you to make it like anything you can do to remove friction, I would start there. Then in the future, once it's up and running, reevaluate your kind of like the economics of it. Okay, so SSH into your server.
Chris, if I may answer Toy
Sure.
quickly. So Toy, for server, you pay what is for the DigitalOcean to host it. Okay. So when you start running it, so since Chris have paired it with his Claude account, so it goes based on the Claude usage. So every Claude account has certain usage based on like the $20 account, $100 account, $200 account. So the more work that Chris gives to his Claude, OpenClaw, the more work it does, the more token it takes.
Raj,
That's
I
how it
spent
works.
$500 in 2 weeks. But I know how to turn it down now, but
Yeah.
I was willing, it was an educational expense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So previously
Yeah, I would
Claude
expect it.
allowed for you to use their $20 or $100, $200 account, then they banned it. So now you need to use the API, which the API cost is a lot. So that's why a lot of guys now they're using Kimi for this.
I heard like Llama too, and what's that, Quinn is another one or something. But
Yeah.
yeah, I have it dialed in now, at least as well as it can be with Anthropic. But I'm like dinging my credit card like $50 at a time. Every
Yeah. Well, Greg Eisenberg was on an episode the other day. He was testing out Perplexity Computer, which is Perplexity's kind of competitor to this. Uh, and he did something, and by the end of it, he's like, "Look, he's like, he had to have the max account, which is $200 a month with Perplexity, but he's like, I just got $200 worth of value out of this." So if you look at it like that, that five in the testing phase, you're probably going to screw things up and overpay and whatever. Um, but like you said, Toy, that's tuition. You know? Okay. OpenClaw is telling you to SSH into your server. So it's reading this. Your DigitalOcean server is there from your Mac terminal. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to SSH my way into a DigitalOcean server. Okay, looks like I did it. Once you're in, follow the OpenClaw instructions, copy. Okay, what does it say? Are you sure you want to continue connecting? Yes. Okay. Okay. Oh, got an error. Here's what I'm going to do. Like if I had any interest at all in being like a technical debugger, I wouldn't just be copying screenshots and popping them in there. I don't. Now, for some of you, you like that might be the puzzle of like solving this. You might want to dig in there and be a little more analog with it. And that's totally fine. What you're seeing though is how I work. Okay, your Mac doesn't have the SSH, not found locally. Use DigitalOcean's web console. Okay. Find your droplet, click access, launch droplet console. I'm in the console. Okay. That's a different one. Let's see here. Okay, I'm in the console. then run the commands from there. Okay. Let's try this command. I'm gonna go back into the console. And guys, if this stuff is confusing, like me too. But all I have to do is if something doesn't work, is this right here. I just take a screenshot, throw it back into the thread. I don't even tell it like what to do. It knows that we're debugging this right now. So there's probably a step that I missed. Uh-huh. And it's going to figure that out. So again, this isn't a class. It's not like, well, you didn't do a very good job of teaching. I'm learning, right? Like what you're learning, what I'm teaching you is what I'm learning in a lot of cases as it happens. So if you found this hard to follow or whatever, like this is kind of what it's going to be like for you when you start to dig in. Toy, was your experience seamless, or was there a lot of friction to get this thing up and running?
Oh, it was a blast. It was an all-nighter.
Yeah, yeah. But now it's running, it's burning tokens, and now you've got a capability that, especially once you start like really developing that muscle of thinking in builds, I mean, your the impact that you can bring has now been lifted significantly because you did the all-nighter and you spent the 500 tokens and you scratched your head and you got confused and frustrated. But now that that part's over, you've got a tool that is highly customized and Perplexity is releasing something. I just saw a video today called Personal Computer. Uh, the missing piece for me with all of this OpenClaw stuff is the ability to have voice interaction back and forth. You see that I can do voice to text, no problem. But I'm on the go, man. I'd
You
like
can
to
do
be able to
it.
just like you can?
Yeah, you can do it. You can do it for free. It sounds terrible, but you can do it with a couple different tools. I'll share them with you.
And
You
it'll
can do it
do,
just
you guys can have a convo.
Yeah, it's a little wonky because I just tried the free one, but I know how to set up the other one. So if you use just like the Max, like I have it on
Yeah.
Telegram. So if you just use the
Yes.
chat in like Telegram or whatever you're using, and then you can have it respond with voice.
Okay. I used Telegram for one of my agents. I didn't realize that.
And it's the free one is it sounds like it sounds like you'd think it would sound, but I
Yeah.
know you can use you think you can use 11 Labs with it too. Um yeah, I got a friend who's using it with all kinds of different personalities.
Yeah. I
So,
guess I'd work on. Go ahead.
are you talking about the voice capability in Claude or WhisperFlow or another
It's
In
solution
the
there?
agent. Yeah. In the agent itself. I'd like to be able to talk to my agent and have it talk back.
the free thing is basically voice to, I mean, they're all voice to text, right? But it's using just your Mac voice to text.
Got it.
Yeah. So I just gave it that. It gave me an error when I got to this step here. So you guys can see, like, I'm reading the minimal amount to get the gist of what I need to do because I know that I don't really need to comprehend what's happening. I just need to put those instructions into an agent. And then, so it's not me necessarily like, oh, turning into idiocracy or anything like that. It's me conserving like cognitive capability for when okay, now I need to pay attention. For this kind of stuff, copy paste. Oh, there's an error. Copy screenshot, fix the error, tell me what to do. Because I don't need to do that stuff. Okay, run this exact command. Let's see here. Okay. Once you get a shell inside the container, then run. Okay. That didn't do anything. Let's try that again. Looks like it's working. Now, how I'm doing this and how I would teach you to do it are two completely different things. Like, and I want you to think about that as well. Um, how you prompt versus how you would go and teach a room full of people to prompt. You know better, but you don't always do better. That's kind of what I'm doing here. Now, once I get this nailed, once I get through all of this stuff, then we will probably be sharing a lot of how-tos in the community for sure. But the reality is I needed a forcing mechanism to make sure that I carved time out of my day to grind through this. And that's what these calls are, the opportunity to see what the real experience is like. And look, man, I think in AI, I'm getting better at thinking in builds. It's not, and even for me, I don't know it all. Okay, I'm inside the container, meaning Goog isn't installed. OpenClaw, so it's likely you don't have Goog pre-installed. The Goog command. Best next step, go back to OpenClaw, chat, tell it the sandbox can't write temp files. Look, try typing this into OpenClaw. Let's do that. And this really is like this is being good at AI. It's not, well, I could, blah blah blah, engineer, blah, blah. That's not what being good at AI is. I mean, first, that's a definition. The definition, though, this is a definition as well. You knowing how to use the tools. Oh, copy paste. Oh, I don't have to come up with that. I don't have to research that. I don't have to follow those steps. I'll spin up a browser tab over here and have it do it while I'm still working on this one. And if something else comes up, I'll spin up another browser tab and have it do it on that one. So, all right, so it's saying, okay, to install. Let me do this. I'll suspect that we do not have what they call homebrew installed on this. And guys, at the top of the hour, which is in a minute, I got to jump to a call. Okay, this will require most formula to build from source of buggy. We will close any issues without response. Okay. Let's see. Insufficient permissions to install homebrew. Okay, so next. I'm just going to copy that part, and it's going to tell me what I need to do. Okay. So guys, to be continued. Thank you for joining me on this today. And go out there and get tested. Or start testing with this stuff. So awesome, guys. Thank you so much. I'll be doing this again on Mondays and Wednesdays. Thanks, everybody. Thanks,
Thank you,
Alex.
everyone. Thanks, Chris. Take care, everybody. Be safe.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.